Today, I have an unboxing and first impressions of the Miyoo A30. This is a micro retro handheld that has been long awaited and pretty hyped up. This is Miyoo's first handheld that isn't the Mini or the Mini Plus. So the question remains, is it as good? Let's check it out. So here it is. It came in a very nice sturdy carrying case. This is actually a really cool case. It's funny because I don't exactly think that the case is needed since the device is so small, and most people would just throw this in their pocket, purse, backpack. That's what I'm planning on doing with it. I suppose the case might be used if maybe you were taking this on a trip rather than your daily errands. You might want to check out the manual that is with the device. But that is if you plan on keeping the stock firmware on here. We'll get to that. So here is more of the explanation of the case, I suppose. There is a charging cable and a headset jack adapter. Note, this device does not have a headset jack. It's cool that they added the adapter though. It would have been even cooler if they had just added a headset jack. Those things don't take up that much room on the motherboard, so it seems like an odd decision, but whatevs. The only thing that you're going to have to keep in mind is if you do plan on using the headset jack adapter, you cannot charge it while you are using it. So hopefully the battery lasts. Okay, I'm just going to say it. This thing looks pretty sharp. I mean, in comparison to the 28XX. So the D-pad and the buttons are a rubber membrane connection. And it's got a silly switch style stick, which is fine. It doesn't need to be fancy at all. I think those are micro switch buttons. There is a SD card down at the bottom. There's a power button on the side that you can see. And there's a couple lights on the side. Keep in mind, those are pretty cool because they indicate whether the device is on. And another thing that this device has over the 28XX is that it has an actual sleep mode. On the top you can see we have some shoulder buttons, a home button, the charging port, volume buttons, and the other shoulder buttons on the right side. To get out of any game, you want to hit the home button. The shoulder buttons don't feel too bad. All the other buttons seem to be, I think, micro switch connections, but they're not terribly clicky. Not nearly as clicky as the 28XX. The shoulder buttons are okay. They work. Nothing to scream over. Now it is a little rattly, but is it as rattly as this one? I think that it isn't. I think the maraca still wins in the rattle department. So here's a size comparison. I mean, they are very, very similar as far as the casing goes. But you can see the big difference is that there's a joystick on the A30 and the buttons are way bigger. They're normal sized versus the tiny micro buttons on the tiny 28XX. So not sure why Amber and I couldn't quite get that right, but oh well. So let's boot it up and take it for a little spin. And before I show off the software, you can see the Miyoo Mini, the original Miyoo Mini, is down at the bottom, and the screen size looks actually very close to the A30, and the Anbernic 28XX is at the top. The original Miyoo Mini looks like it has a little bit more length on the screen than the 830, But if you're looking for a horizontal form factor from Miyoo, maybe the A30 might be it. Okay, is it wrong that I already want some custom buttons for the A30? Let's check out the tech specs really quick. There isn't a whole lot of power in this little guy, but it should play some of the mid-tier systems. Dreamcast, PSP, and N64. We'll definitely test that. Big thing is, despite not having a headset jack, it does have Wi-Fi, which the 28XX does not. I will say that this does feel a little sturdier than the Anberning. Now, one thing I can notice right off the bat is there's a games section and a RetroArch section, so that annoys me from a new user standpoint. You're not going to really know which one to pick, and one of them is probably not going to play the games as well as the other, I'm guessing. Also, I love that they couldn't spell arcade correctly. Come on, it's 2024. Spell check, for God's sakes. That was the game section. Let's go into RetroArch. Now, here you can see there's a bunch of cores, and that's pretty cool. However, like I said before, you may not understand what any of this means if you're a new user, so this might not be as plug and play for a new user out there, because there's a bunch of stuff. My favorite Genesis and Master System core is on here, Pico Drive. Let's check out the apps section. Wait, what is this? There's nothing in here. Okay, that's just goofy. One of the cool things with Onion OS is the app section is full of different cool things. At least there's a bunch of different options here in the settings menu. And you can see right there, there's Wi-Fi. Hooray! And you should be able to update the software, I think, from... I could be wrong about that. We'll see that in the next video. Here's the version of the software. I think that needs to be updated. And here's a hardware test. Now, you can immediately test in the settings all your buttons, so that's kind of cool. I would definitely recommend doing that right when you get it out of the box, just in case you have any issues with it. And side note, I couldn't get out of the hardware test after I tested it, so I ended up having to reboot the thing. So just be aware of that. I don't know if my buttons weren't working or what was going on, but whatever. Alright, let's check out some games. Hey, let's do some ad craze, or whatever they call it. Ad recray? I don't know how you... It's arcade. I'm just being goofy. Oh, holy craptastic sound, Batman. Good lord, that sounds terrible. What is going on? Oh, and the game's running super slow too. I might not be able to make it through this whole video without updating to custom firmware. This is ridiculous. Okay, we're gonna try to see if maybe if we go out of the games section and go into RetroArch or the actual core, if that will change anything. And I couldn't change the core in RetroArch, so we're just gonna go out and select Final Burn Alpha and see if we can play the same game. Okay, so now the game sounds like it's on helium. Great. Okay, the gameplay is a little bit... Okay, no, it's not better. My character is working faster. Wait, what the? All the enemies are staying on the screen. This is hilarious. Okay. Look, it's like immortal mode or something. This is terrible. What is happening right now? Can I be a big beefy guy now? Okay, a little bit. And I still have... Wow. Okay, well, you guys got to see that. We're going to try something else. Okay, if NES doesn't run correctly, then there's no hope for this device, or at least this stock OS, and I will end the video right now. Oh, good. Oh, good. It sounds like, yeah. Normal gameplay. Hooray! I know I've mentioned this before, but I just love the original Castlevania on NES, and I will always play it from the very beginning because I love the title music and I love the first stage of music. It's so good. So, so good. Okay, fine, I'll play something else. Aiden Walls, this one's for you. For anyone that follows Aiden's channel, this is his favorite game. When I was on his podcast about a month ago and did an interview with him, I promised him that I would definitely check out that game. Hopefully I don't suck at it. Alright, let's check out some Sega Genesis. I remember renting this game from the video store, and it was so much fun. I think I rented it a few times, or got definitely a few late charges from not returning it, because I wanted to get through the levels a little bit more. This is actually one of Matt HM's favorite Genesis games, so you should definitely check this game out, and check his channel out, because he has really cinematic, awesome videos. So right in the middle of this video, when I'm editing and putting the whole video together, I got a cool package not too long ago, and this is actually from Game Geek. I don't know where the first Miyoo A30 came from. I thought that maybe it was from Game Geek, but nothing ever told me. This is the world's tiniest screen protector. That's cute. So I have a bonus Miyoo A30. That's pretty cool. This one should be the gray version. Let's see. Yes. Oh, that's nice. I like that. That looks very nice. And here is my little disclaimer. Thank you, Game Geek, for sending this device over for review. All opinions are my own, and they did not see this video before I have recorded it. We will check out the website, and here they have two different versions. There's one without any games and one with games, and there's only a $4 difference. So we'll check out the one with games. You can get a 64 gig card or a 128 gig card, and that jacks up the price just a little bit more. But also keep in mind that I do have a coupon code that you can use if you are going to order this, and it gives you 10% off. Also, Game Geek has free shipping. That's awesome. Now I turned the brightness up on both devices, and it looks like the gray model actually is a little bit brighter and better screen. I checked both versions on the devices, and they both have the exact same software version, so not really sure what's going on here, but that's cool, I guess. I also did a hardware test on the gray model that I just received, and all the buttons worked, and I could get out of the hardware test, so I won't bore you with going. So I know this is just a faceplate on the front, but I really like what they did with this. I really like the accents of the white. The gray looks just as sharp as the black does. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. You can see that the difference with the back. On the black version, it's white, and on the gray, it's gray. Let's get back to testing more games. Now, one thing that I noticed on the gray model is that there is a shoot category, and it looks like you can play this in tate mode. Okay, this is just bizarre, and it doesn't work upside down. You have to use the controls at the top. The buttons are the shoot buttons, but the controls at the top, I mean, I guess you can use the joystick, but this is bizarre. This is not how you're supposed to be playing tate mode. It's weird. Yeah, I don't think I like this. That's bizarre. The Anbernic, you can play in tate mode, but it changes the controls. So you're not using the D-pad, you're using the actual buttons at the bottom, which is also something weird to get used to, but this is just bizarre. So the D-pad and the buttons feel kind of okay for a fighting game. It's not completely perfect, but it's definitely serviceable. You can definitely use this. I mean, I just got a perfect round, so I guess that says something. Time to test out the higher systems. The music in the game menu was a little laggy and kind of stuttered a little bit. I don't feel any stutter in the gameplay. Maybe in the music every once in a great while, but I think it's working, other than me just being terrible at this game right now. Keep in mind, there are only a handful of any of these games, the Dreamcast, N64, and PSP, that are on here. They typically grab games that will work and don't load anything else that's a little bit more demanding. I didn't see God of War on here on PSP, so we're definitely not testing that, at least right now. So I think it's a cute little device. I hate the stock operating system. I already said that. It's absolutely terrible. There's lots of flaws with it. I knew that going into this review because others have talked about it. It was going to have some issues. I was trying to get this video out so that I can show the stock OS before I update it, and then I can just get to throwing whatever custom firmware I can find on there. definitely look for that video soon. I will have an updated video showing the custom firmware options and whichever one I end up choosing. I think there are potentially 2 options out there, neither of which are Onion OS, sadly. I'm still crossing my fingers that maybe the Onion team will eventually come out with their amazing answer to the A30. We shall see. The hardware is definitely more enticing than the 28XX. The buttons and the D-pad on the A30 are bigger. They even manage the one joystick and the front-facing speaker, all in the same size as the 28XX, which still baffles me that the Anbernic chose such small buttons and D-pad. Another big win in my books is that the A30 has Wi-Fi. The 28XX does not. I don't know who out there uses retro achievements. If you haven't, you should definitely check them out. They add just a little bit of fun to your gameplay on your retro games, but you can't if you have the Anbernic micro device because there isn't a Wi-Fi chip. Sure, this is a new user play right out of the box good experience. I might still suggest the Anbernic 28XX if you are okay with the device's shortcomings that I pointed out. And this is the big thing. If you are not planning on updating or putting custom firmware on the A30, if that is the case, I would definitely suggest the Anbernic, or maybe just get a Miyoo Mini. You can get a preloaded Miyoo Mini or Mini Plus with the amazing Onion OS already loaded on there, and then you really don't have to do anything if you don't want to. So despite the shoddy software, I think I like it. I think I really do. I don't know yet if this will replace my Miyoo Mini Plus as my go-to pocket device. That will be the big question. My thoughts are that they did a pretty good job with the hardware, and I'm happy about that because the software is garbage, and I'm okay with that because that's fixable. That's the fixable part if you throw some custom firmware on here. So I would rather have good hardware with good buttons and, you know, no rattles that I'm just going to change the stock operating system anyways. The rattly maraca buttons on here, I know you can throw some tape on the buttons on the inside, and I don't even care enough to do that on this device, especially because if you saw my first impressions video on the 28XX, the screen is coming off. The bezel, it just, you know, is ungluing from the whole device, and why would I want to play that? So I'm definitely a big fan. You can see the cool thing is, speaking of the screen, I liked how Miyoo inset the screen in here, so that doesn't happen. Where Anbernic, you know, they just kind of they threw the LCD in there and then they slapped a piece of plastic on there and to create bezels. This doesn't really have bezels, which is cool as far as the LCD, but they created just this ridiculous glass piece that's falling off on my device. I don't know if anybody else is having that issue out there. If you are, comment below. I'd love to know if somebody else is having that issue, or if I'm just the lucky person in the world that gets a goofy device like that. But, you know, anyway, those are my thoughts, not yours. Let me know in the comments below if you picked up the Miyoo A30 or if you picked up the Anbernic device and what you think of them. Do you like something? Do you not like something? And that's loud. Or are you still on the fence and you're not sure which one to pick up? Which, don't worry, like I said, I will have another video out very soon with some custom firmware on this little guy because the software's terrible. So I will definitely update that. So yeah, that's it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay awesome, everyone, and go play some games.